and welcome back to Fluttering Butterflies. I'm so sorry that it's been so long since I've uploaded anything. I've been going through a really rough time lately, and with that sort of emotional upheaval, I'd stopped reading and blogging and booktubing, but I feel like I've turned a corner and now here I am back again with you lovely lot. So hello again! Hopefully I won't be absent for quite so long in the future. So today's video is going to be a wrap up of the books by British authors that I read during the months of October and November. Let's get started with October's books. I read absolutely nothing. October was a really bad month for me, and I just couldn't manage anything. Towards the end, and that carried on until the beginning part of November, and then in the last 2 weeks of November I did manage to read 6 books or so. So I'm going to be talking about those books, specifically the books by British authors, as it goes along with the British Books Challenge that I've been hosting on my blog this year, flutteringbutterflies.com. And the book that cracked me out of my reading slump is Angel Dares by Joss Stirling, and this is the 5th book, I believe, in her Savant series about teenagers with special abilities, and they're very romantic books. A lot of the books center around these savants finding what's called their soul finder, and their soul finder is really their soul mate, the one person that they're kind of perfect for in the world. And apparently it's meant to be quite rare to find these people, but not in a Joss Stirling book, thankfully. I really liked the mixture of romance and sort of intrigue, as well as it just being quite funny. This one had a lot of musical references, and I loved all of the music within it. I could never tell if this book was hugely emotional just because I was feeling very emotional, and it was just sort of projecting it onto this, but for whatever reason I felt the heartbreak in this book very, very strongly. It was a very quick book for me to read, especially since I hadn't read anything in such a long time. I felt like the ending needed to be a little bit fleshed out a little bit more, but other than that, I really love this book, this author, and this series. After Angel Dares, I realized that I think the romance angle is kind of what pulled me out of my reading slump. So this isn't a book by a British author. Lauren Kate is American, I believe. But next I picked up Unforgiven, and I won't tell you too much about Unforgiven because I'll probably write a full review on my blog. I'll probably write full reviews of most of these books, otherwise there wouldn't be very much on my blog lately. I found this book slightly disappointing, and I'll probably go into more detail on that in my written review. Next up, I picked up this amazing book. This is the proof copy of a book called Rebel of the Sands by Alwyn Hamilton. And this book is absolutely incredible. I loved it so very much. I loved the setting. I loved the elements of storytelling, the characters, their relationships together. There was a twist sort of in the last quarter of the book that knocked me over. So very good. This is definitely one that you should all be looking out for in 2016. Next up, not a British author, she's Irish. That's Inferno by Doyle. This is the sequel to Vendetta, which I read and enjoyed this previous year. This book is being published in January, and holy shit, guys, so very good. Honestly, I absolutely raced through this book, and I loved every single second that I spent with these characters and this relationship, and I just want to know what's gonna happen. Why do I have to wait for the next book? So very good. If anyone is teetering on the brink of a reading slump, I would definitely suggest Vendetta and Inferno because they're so fast-paced and addictive and exciting and romantic and just thrilling, and yeah, nothing but love for this book, this series. After that book, I picked up The Square Root of Summer by Harriet Reuter Hapgood. I was recently invited to an event at Macmillan Books in which Harriet was going to be there, and I really wanted to read it before the event. And this book, on the back of it, says that it has the swoon-worthy romance, and you can see the theme here is romance to help me out of this reading slump. And I really loved this book. And while I loved the romance in it, the relationship that really got to me so much in this book that I was crying in the middle of the night into my pillow was the relationship that the main character Gotti has with their grandfather Gray. Summer of friendship and love and grief and physics, and honestly, I'll probably be talking a lot more about this book in the upcoming months, but it's a little bit too early to go on too much about the square root of summer just yet. Sixth and final book that I wanted to talk to you about today is this book, All Wrapped Up, which is a Geek Girl special by Holly Smale, and this was so adorable. I think I was expecting, because of its hardbackness and the size of it, that there would be a little bit more depth to it, but there's a lot of space between the words. There's lots of space between chapters in which there's little cute illustrations and things. It is a very short story, but it was very satisfying even though it was very short. And my copy of the hardback edition has lots of extra bonus material at the back to make it worth the hardback price. It's very, very cute and romantic, very adorable, and it tells the story of a date between Harriet and Lion Boy, which goes between the first and the second books, and obviously it's set at Christmas time. And I was reading it and it was just so lovely and Christmassy. It was just so sweet, and it put a big smile on my face. From me today, those are the 4 books by British authors that I read over the last 2 months, and little snippets of the 2 books that are not by British authors. Thank you so much for watching, and do share in comments or on Twitter the books that you've been reading lately. I'd love to hear from you. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you again next time.